Hello there and welcome back to Spring into Summer. We are on the May prompts and we're running out of time in May and I still have 3 more prompts, so we're gonna knock them all out in one video. So we have jumbo tag and fabric, snippet roll and something vintage, and paper doll and splatters. So let's jump right into the first one, which is number 3, jumbo tag and fabric. I don't want to overload one section in this journal, so I'm going to look for something a section that doesn't have tons of things added in. I kind of want to make a jumbo tag in this back section here. We have a couple of pieces of the digital kit that I started with in the beginning. They're here, and this big floral belly band, but not a lot otherwise. So we could do a jumbo tag that would set in here or set in here or maybe inside of here. Could be fun. Or on the outside of this piece, but I'm thinking somewhere toward the end would be nice. All right, what I have decided to do is put a jumbo tag here. And I have this piece that's left over from one of Barbara at 49 Dragonfly's digital planner kits. I cut it into a tag shape and just backed it with some scrapbook paper just to give it a little bit more stability. So this will be the base for our tag. We'll move the journal out of the way and do some work on top of it. We have to add fabric in here at some point, and I would like to pull some more of this bright orange if I can find something like that in whatever we're doing. I have some orange. This is fabric from an old book cover. I have some more pieces from the kit from Barbara. I have these flower petal pieces that I've been wanting to use since I started this project. And I've got my scrap bowl. So what we need to do is decide if we want a focal point on here. Do we want it to be one of these pieces from this kit, or do we want it to be something different? Because this might be too matchy-matchy. If we could have something that would to break this up and give some contrast here, then I wouldn't mind this actually, because this is a beautiful piece. So do we have enough of this orange to go around the picture? Yes, we do. Ugh. Dust in the air. It's really old. So when you rip it, the dust goes flying. Yeah. Okay, let's glue this down on top of the orange fabric, and then we'll put that on the tag, but we might do some other layering and things behind it. So one step at a time. One step at a time, 1 foot before another. Don't turn back now that you're here. Okay, so we've got this. Can we use the flower petals like this, maybe? I like that. I just need to decide if that's for sure what I want to do. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's gonna happen. So let's just start gluing before I can overthink it. These 2 flower pieces are already glued together, so I'm just gonna glue down the center onto the tag. And then we'll glue all around on the back of this. I need to get a little bit more glue to hold that down, or do I want to glue it so it's like kind of flopped over like that? Do I like it like that, or back flat? I like it flopped over. Oh, I'm spilling glue onto my thing accidentally. Oopsie. Fabri-tac everywhere. Okay, I would like to go around this with some ink just on the edges of the the tag itself. So we're gonna grab some ground espresso. But this doesn't quite feel finished to me. I feel like I need a sentiment or something here. So I'm gonna go find something to put there. Okay, I have this stamp set that is Tiny Text, CMS 394 by Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. And I thought I would pick one of these, and I'm going to do it in gold using this Ohuhu dot marker. So, what do we want to put here? Be Authentic is sticking out to me, so that's what we are going to do. We have to do it in gold because this is from a Barbara kit, and she would be thoroughly ashamed if we didn't do it in gold. So, haha! There it is there. And I think that means we also need some gold splatters. My latest thing lately to do gold splatters, my favorite thing anyway, is Fossilized Amber Distress Sprit. It makes the most beautiful shiny gold. So, we need to cover up her face because we don't want her to get gold in her eyes. Put that there. Barbara's doing something very similar to this kit for June of this year, and I'm very excited about that. In fact, I meant to go purchase the kit today and download it for my junk journal planner. The only thing left I'm not sure about is whether this tag needs a topper. I have a piece of this green lace we could put just some of up here. Do we like the green with this? Yeah, I kind of do. So what I want is a piece that's kind of rectangle-y. It's a very scientific word. And then I'm gonna fold it like this. What I'd really like to do is staple it on because I like the look of the staple there, but my mini staplers are kind of tricky to work with. Do I have my regular size stapler here, or is it at school? No regular size stapler. We're gonna try this and see if we can get it to work with the mini. Okay, I am mostly happy with that tag topper. We're going to let it be. I could have just glued it down. That might have been easier. Okay, so there is the first prompt jumbo tag in fabric. Got two different kinds of fabric on there. The next one is snippet roll and something vintage. Here's a look at the tag in place. I thought about making a pocket or something, but I decided to just clip it in. And we are going to do a snippet roll more towards the beginning. I wondered about putting one near the beginning of this section here, maybe next to the owl, or maybe on the front of this folder piece. So we'll kind of keep that thought in mind. Now, snippet rolls, you can do lots of different ways. I've decided to make one from lace. Oh, my camera's tilted. Sorry about that. So I got a whole bunch of lace trim pieces in a recent thrift haul, and we're going to use some of this for the base, and then we're going to be adding some more pieces on top of it. I'm going to cut a piece that is way longer than what we need because we can make an extra long snippet roll, and then there will be more to add in later. Now, I learned how to make this kind of snippet roll from Louisa Heinzel, and she started by adding some stamping along on the base piece so that when this folds over to the other side, it had something decorative, but she was also cutting them up into smaller pieces to be like page tabs. And I don't think I want to do that. I think I want it to just run down the side of the page. I am going to grab some scrap pieces of lace and we'll just kind of make a pile of things. All right, digging through my scrap bowl, I found some pieces of lace. I also found some fabric. I was like, do I want to include other kinds of fabric in there? Right now I'm thinking no, just stick with the lace. All right, there's one other piece of lace that was sitting on my desk that I saw. I am gonna run to the craft room because I've got oodles more to see what other interesting pieces I can find. All right, we've got our base piece and then some neutrals. Some of these are quite vintage, so they're a little bit darker. We've got a few color pieces here. I'm not sure how much of that I'll use. I wish I could get a good angle on the sewing machine for you, but I just can't, so I'll come back to you once these are sewn down. What I'm gonna be doing is taking little pieces here and there and just adding them on top of this so that we have a snippet roll going all the way down the page. All right, sewing is done. I used white thread, so you're not gonna be able to see most of the stitching, but we got the whole strip covered, and like I said, I just took bits and pieces and just glued them down. We've got some of this white and gold, green. This is gorgeous. It's a little wintry with snowflakes, but we can pretend that they're flowers. We got some of this piece here. There's some of this. I don't know how to describe all of these. The black thing, some more of the white and gold, a little bit of mint green, some black floral lace, more vintage stuff, darker green, gold. I did put on one piece of the purple lace that we saw and I just hated it, so I took it off. But yeah. Now we're not done yet. We need something vintage. Now, technically some of this lace is vintage, but I would like to add something else to the journal page as well. So if we take out our journal and go to section 2, I think that it would look best if we put the snippet roll on this, on the front of this cover page. I'm gonna pop that out. And you can see this is way longer than it needs to be, the snippet roll. So we're gonna choose a portion that looks good once we pick our something vintage. I'm really glad I took the purple off because we have greens and stuff, and we have obviously the black background here, whites, but there's no purple. So I'm glad that I took that piece off. Now for the something vintage, I have some old cabinet cards and some old magazine pieces. So I'm gonna sift through what I've got and I will be back in a jiffy. I've got a stack of real actual vintage photos and cabinet cards here. None of these are reproductions, and we're just going to kind of test some things out. A couple of these are too small. This lady's a great size. She looks a little grouchy, but that's okay. We have this gentleman here. This gentleman who looks like he's some kind of civil servant, possibly. This lady and her horse are super cute, but too small. I'd like to stick within this size range here. Got this baby. This lady, maybe a little bit smaller than the other pieces, but I'm gonna consider her. This is a gorgeous photo, but it is too big. This one's really cool. I don't know, I have to also be careful because Janie she's not into the vintage stuff as much as I am. Look at how cute he is. So this is cute, like it came in this folder, right? And this says, an old classmate and one I'll remember, lots of luck in your future. To Priscilla, Frenchie, 1950. I love the idea that like this guy, Frenchie obviously, gave his picture to this Priscilla. Now, did he have a secret crush on her because she's like someone that he'll remember? Or were they just friends? What kind of story can we imagine for them? And you know, since he's capturing our creativity, I think he's our guy. He's a little bit bigger than I would like, but we're gonna make him work. First thing I'm gonna do is separate these two pieces. Probably should use my straight edge cutter, but I've already started with the scissors, so we're just going for it. And I regret that choice. Okay, I cut him down in the frame as much as I could because I wanted to keep this to Priscilla from Frenchie thing, and he's still gonna go over the side. And I'm gonna decide to be okay with that because I cannot bear to cut this off. Now you can see that the frame's kind of lifting up, so we're just going to take our glitter glue, get some glue underneath the photo, as well as the frame. Just make sure that they're gonna stay put. The condition this is in for being, what, 75 years old is amazing. I think I also wanna cut down the little sentiment that he wrote to Priscilla. So we're gonna get the cutter back out and cut around this little message. Okay, what are we gonna do? All right, here's the problem, these holes here. If this was just an individual page, we could glue it all the way to the end and it only be peeking out this much. But as it is, we need the holes. So we can either punch the holes through the frame or we can scoot it out more. And I kind of feel like we need to punch holes through the frame because that's just maybe too much. Too much out there. The other choice we need to make before we glue anything down is with a snippet roll. What portion do we want to use? And I think it should maybe slide a little bit underneath here. Because, I mean, we can see more of the snippet roll if we go like this, but then we're going to cover his signature there. So I think it should be peeking out underneath. I want to get something where we can see some gold. Then we'll get this gold poking out, as well as some black and some of the dark green. Do we want some of the light green there too? I'm gonna cut this bottom piece. This will go in the scrap bowl. And the first thing we're gonna do is stick down the snippet roll. While I'm doing this, you guys be thinking about, and you can comment in the space below, what do you think the story is between Frenchie and Priscilla? Like, were they just friends? Was it a secret crush situation? Was it maybe even they were both into each other but couldn't tell anybody? Maybe because of some like 1950s taboo situation? Who knows? Okay, did I glue that too far in? I wish it was poking out more. Let's try one more time. Just reposition it a little bit. Luckily, Fabri-Tac is very forgiving. Okay, sir, you're gonna get glued down. Please cooperate. This is gonna be adding a lot of bulk to the journal. Sorry, Janie. Okay, now we need to take this message that he wrote. I'm gonna ink around that as well. I'll go here. Do we need something underneath it? Or maybe some of the darker green or the black to be more masculine. Not the dark green because they're both lower here. Let's try something black. Yep, I like that. Doesn't need to be a very big piece. Just something to help bring in. I was gonna say some color, but then people are gonna say, oh, but black isn't really a color. What if, so take a tiny piece of this mint green as well. Okay, I'm just gonna hold this down for a little bit, put some pressure on it, and then it will be ready to go. All right, our friend Frenchie is back in the journal. Unfortunately, I had to punch through the P on Priscilla's name, so Janie, when you get her back, just remember, it's Priscilla, like Priscilla Presley. But he's there. This still opens up for plenty of writing space. We have this gorgeous vintage photograph and a fun kind of imaginary situation in our minds. I'm excited to hear what you guys comment below about what you think of these two characters, Priscilla and Frenchie, or people, not characters. You know what I mean. I'm realizing now that his photo is like a little bit wonky, so it's sticking up a bit here. It's too late to change anything, so I'm gonna just stick the end of my art glitter glue down in there and see if we can get him to lay flat. I should have noticed that before, but I didn't, so, you know, it's what it is. Okay, prompt number 4, snippet roll and something vintage is done. And then we have prompt number 5, paper doll and splatters. I have loads of paper dolls and I already know where I want to put this one. We've done a couple of pages that are fairly green. We've got oranges, golds, and stuff, and I want to go for a different color palette. So if we flip to the section just before this, we've got this beautiful page right here that's got purples and pinks. I am kind of in my purple journaling era right now. I have a big project I've been working on that's very much purple. I'll be sharing that with you soon. And I want to use this. So let's find a paper doll that we like and create something fun. All right, we're going to do the splatter part of the prompt first. I have Distress Spray Stain in Picket Fence, which is white. I have Distress Stain Daubers, which make gorgeous splatters. This is in Shaded Lilac. I also have Oxide Spray in Shaded Lilac and Oxide Spray in Villainous Potion. And I think we're going to do all of these. So we're going to start with the Dauber. Now these you can't really get anymore. I found some on eBay, so you can see if someone's reselling, but I don't think you can actually buy them brand new in stock anymore anywhere. Or if you can, let me know. And the key to getting a good splatter is really just smacking it down. So let's see how this goes. I apologize if it makes loud noises. This is kind of a light color, but you can see some of these splatter marks on the paper. And then we'll add more splatters with these sprays. So let's start with the darkest first, with Villainous Potion. I always get Villainous Potion on my fingers, so I use this piece of lace, and we're just gonna purple it up a bit. Be a good piece to put in a scrap bowl. Okay, we'll go to the Shaded Lilac. This is a very light bluish purple color, but it's still gonna give a lot of nice contrast to the really dark Villainous Potion. And then lastly, the Picket Fence. Now the white might turn purple as it mixes with the other colors, but we're gonna try it anyway. All right, we'll let this dry before we add anything else on top of it. All right, this is mostly dry. There's a couple little spots, but I want to start working on some elements that are going to go down on top. So I have picked out this couple right here for our paper doll. They're so cute. And I found this. This came from a vintage thrifting haul that I got recently. And this is just a set of like little, I forget the name of them, but you use them to put on clothes when you're like clipping, they clip things together. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I thought we'd have our gentleman sitting on top of this. Okay, so that's gonna be there. That gives us like a whole ton of space on our page. We'll need a sentiment, so I picked out this one, Own Your Dreams. And while I was looking through my Tim Holtzy stuff, I found this window frame, and I thought maybe this would be a great thing to take up some of that space behind our couple. So the window frame and the sentiment are quite thick. I'm going to peel back some of the layers so they're not so thick, and then we'll start working on assembling the page. I also have a couple of other things that we're going to add to just have more to look at. So if you get some of these things either from Tim Holtz or elsewhere, you can really easily make them thinner by just taking a little X-Acto knife and separating the layers. I've done this oodles of times. When you separate them, just go carefully so that you don't rip anything. Now you can save this to use on something else, which I'll definitely do, or throw it away. And then we have this piece here. We'll also do the same thing with our sentiment, so it's not quite so thick, although I'm going to make it a little bit thicker than I did with the window. There's lots of layers on these, so you can kind of pick if you want it to be super thin or a little bit thicker, or you can just leave it as it is. and do the full thickness. I have these little pieces that I cut out of a book about glass paperweights. They've got some purples and greens and such in them. And then we might also add this thing. This is just a silk flower piece, and the stuff that you can see there in the middle, it is a combination of translucent crackle paste and purple sand. I got some purple sand when I was thrifting 2 weekends ago and wanted to try it out with some paste. So we plopped it in the middle of this flower as well as on some pieces for another project. And I'm trying to decide how I want to use all of these things, or if I want to use all of these things. So we're gonna set some things down here and just kind of play with positioning for a minute. Okay, I like everything that we can see so far here. I like that these small pieces are present, but they're not like taking attention away. They're more helping the eye to come to this couple here. That's where we want people's eyes to go, is to the focal point. Shall we start gluing things?
Under lilac skies we paste and glue rainbows made from scraps that feel brand new. Threads of lace and floral waves collide. In our crafted world we'll always confide. Tuck spots hold the dreams we've spun, pockets brimming with the morning sun. Journaling cards tell tales untold. Springtime whispers in a heart of gold. Vintage photos cradled by our hands, ephemera maps to forgotten lands, pages stitched with loops of laughter song. Every corner proves where hearts belong. Tuck spots hold the dreams we've spun, pockets brimming with the morning sun. Journaling cards tell tales untold. Springtime whispers in a heart of gold. Paintbrush trails blue as seasons bloom fair. Friendships found in lace and papered care. Through each line we scroll or corner we press, it's art that binds us tight with no regrets.
All right, our couple is a little bit more this way than I had originally planned, but then I realized I needed to scoot him over so that his leg wasn't on top of the middle bits. It would have been impossible to get him to stay down. So we've got this here. We need to make a decision about where the sentiment will go and if we want to add the flower. Ooh, what do we think about putting that there? I kind of like it there. Now, do we want this or just the sentiment? Okay, I'm gonna do the Louisa trick where I take a picture of both versions and then look at it through my camera and see which one I like the best. I think I like the flower version better. So once again, we're going for it.
Tuck spots hold the dreams we've spun, pockets brimming with the morning sun. Journaling cards tell tales untold. Springtime whispers in a heart of gold.
Okay, we've got this glued down. I did go around this with some shaded lilac. You can't see it very well because it's such a light color, but it's there. We got our flower. We've got our cute couple. Something for him to sit on. I like it. So we definitely have paper doll and splatters here. That means that we can check off our last prompt for May. So I will get this ready to send back to Janie. She will get to keep this journal, and she will do June's prompts, which are hidden under here. And I will get to do June's prompts in the journal that she made that is going to be sent back to me. I hope you're enjoying this series so far. Let me know in the comments below which one of today's creations you like the best. And definitely let me know your thoughts about Priscilla and Frenchie, because I really need to know their story. In the meantime, have a wonderful, magical, and bookish day. Happy reading, crafting, or journaling. Adios.